Again, guys, Burton, I'm here with Propstream.com. If you haven't noticed already, we recently updated our application, and this demonstration will be covering those updates as well as the entirety of the application. Before we begin, I would like to talk about some updates that we just pushed yesterday morning on the back end. The first major update I would like to proudly announce is that in addition to our current comprehensive MLS coverage of active, pending, sold, and failed listings nationwide, we have now connected nearly 700 additional MLS boards nationwide. So what does that mean to you? This means more MLS listings, more photos, agent descriptions, and daily updates now. The second major update is that we have essentially renamed our skip tracing feature. It was previously called the Pen Contacts. It's now called skip tracing. Not only have we replaced the name, but we have also updated the feature with a more accurate service. This service will pull information from more credible sources like credit bureaus. Ultimately, we're going to have the same service that law firms, private investigators, and other related agencies will use to skip trace their leads, essentially. The third major update would be the enhanced mortgage information. What this means is that more properties will now provide mortgage information such as mortgage amount, recording date, interest rate, and mortgage term. This update will allow us to calculate the estimated equity with better results, better accuracy than most data providers. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump to it. So the new thing too is when we do an update, you're going to see this pop up. It's going to say what's new. You're going to see photos of these updates and details of what these updates are. At the very bottom, you'll have the ability to close this. You can also prevent this message from populating once again. Now, if you're a first-time user, when you close that pop-up, the first thing that's going to happen is we're going to capture your IP address and we're going to zoom in onto your area. So if you haven't guessed already, I'm here in Orange County, California, hence why it has zoomed in on this area. Now, before I begin into the whole searching and explaining the map and the tools on this page, I do want to bring your attention to the left-hand side. Here on the left-hand side, this is our toolbar. Beginning with your portfolio here at the top, this is your profile. By selecting that, you can apply your first name, last name, email, change your password, add a profile picture. You can instruct the system to deselect new labels. What that means is anytime we do an update, rather than knowing what those updates are, what we're going to do is we're going to tell you what these updates are by putting a new label next to it, such as this right here. Now, if you go in your profile page and you deselect that, it's not going to show you the new feature. So you may overlook something that may have been updated. So just do be careful with deselecting that. Credit card number, this will expedite some of the features that we have like skip tracing, direct marketing such as postcards, ringless voicemail drops, billing address, and then down below, this is a new section that we just added recently, which is your business information. So you can apply your business name, business phone, website, email, and your business address. Now, this area is very important as it not only ties in with expediting your purchases, this section also ties into the campaign section. And we'll get to that in a little bit later, but I do want to highlight that this is your portfolio. I would recommend filling out as much information as you can. Again, it's going to only be better for you in the long run. Below the portfolio is the first icon, search. This is technically the default page. This is where most of your searching, filtering, and analyzing will be performed. Properties is where we're going to store the list that you've created. So as you're searching results, you'll be able to customize these results by applying your own filters. Once you get the results, you'll be able to highlight the results or select 10 of the results and save them into a list. This is the area where we're going to store those lists. The third section is contacts. This section is where you will be able to manually edit any contact information that you have. This is also the section where you will be able to import an outside list. So if you have a different data provider, but you're using our system, you can import your lists. What that will allow you to do is now skip trace that list as well as utilize that list for direct marketing. So whether you're using our data to build your list or a different provider's data, again, you can upload that information into our system and, again, utilize the other tools like skip tracing and direct marketing. The last section here that's important is the bottom left. This is where your skip tracing lists will be stored. Okay, so that is our contacts. Again, this is where you manually edit, import your outside lists, as well as where we store your skip tracing job lists. The fourth step is skip tracing. This doesn't take you to a page. What this does is it instantly pops up the skip tracing feature. Essentially, there's 3 steps. Just follow these 3 steps to upload your list and get their contact information. I'll go over this in a few moments, but the idea with this button is that at any time, whether you're searching for properties or you're in your portfolio, you can click the skip trace and we can take any list that you've built and get their contact information as soon as possible. The next icon below skip tracing is campaigns. So this is pretty much the last section of our application. This is where you're going to be able to take the customized list that you've built after skip tracing, of course, and getting their emails and phone numbers. This is the section where you'll be able to create a campaign for that particular audience. So when you create a campaign, you're given a free landing page, which is a 1-page website. And then after creating that website, you're going to be able to send as many postcards as you like, ringless voicemail drops, as well as email campaigns. And not only that, we're going to monitor your activity, so you'll know how many people have visited your website, how many postcards have been sent, and so forth. The last icon is our Help tab. So by clicking this, it's going to redirect you to a different tab. This is where our video tutorials are. These are tutorials that are going to teach you how to do some simple functions like searching, analyzing. We do have our contact information here at the top. So that is our toolbar. That's the first thing I do want to bring to your attention. Again, portfolio is probably one of the most important things. I do recommend you go in there and apply as much information as you can. Okay, so let's get to the search page. So, searching. There are 4 possible searches that you can perform. You can perform a specific property search. So if you're driving for dollars or you drive around the neighborhood, you see a property that may be in distress, you can type out the property simply by typing out the address. Here's one I drove by in my neighborhood. So by selecting or typing a specific property, 2 things are going to happen. Actually, 3 things are going to happen. First off, we're going to zoom in on the map where that property is, and you'll have the ability to zoom in. You'll be able to see the neighbors. You can click on the street, and by clicking on the street, we're going to throw you at ground level, so you'll be able to see the property. Not only will you be able to see the property at ground level, but below the image, you can actually click on this icon, and in just a few seconds, rather than clicking on the arrows to go around the block, we can actually just drag the map anywhere we'd like. So if we wanted to go around the block as fast as possible, we can definitely do that. Okay, and this is an old neighborhood of mine, so we can see that there's a school right around the corner, right? So that could potentially increase our value or increase the demand of such a property. So very simple way of utilizing the mapping system rather than just clicking the arrows. So when you search the property address, again, we're going to zoom in. You'll be able to click on the street. You can change the aerial view from road to satellite. What we're also going to do is we're going to capture the zip code of that address and populate these boxes at the top. Now, these boxes are what we call canned searches. These are all unfiltered results for that given area. So in this zip code 90242 Downey, California, we've collected over 471 MLS listings, 74 pre-foreclosures, 20 of them are in auction, 3 bank-owned properties, over 200 cash-bought properties, 800 properties with involuntary liens, 31 vacant properties, over 4,800 properties sitting on $100,000 or more in equity. That's what we call high equity. And then we do have a few other filters recently added, which is the free and clear, bankruptcy, and divorce filing. So those are the listing types that you have available to you to search through. But again, you can also search for specific properties. We have over 160 million property records that you can siphon through. So that's the first search, specific address. Again, filters will populate. You'll be able to see the property. We'll zoom in on it. And then to your right is where all your results will always populate. So in this case, I search a particular address. I get the address, and now I can click on details. And this is what we call the property details page. So every property in our system will have this layout. It's going to tell you who the owner is, site information. You'll have the ability to run comps. You'll be able to look at the photos of the property if there are any, mortgage information, transaction history. And I'll go over that in just a few moments, but I do just want to show you what it looks like when you're searching a specific address, details, and then down below we can see the neighbors. We can click on the local MLS around the property. And then to the right of that, we have the pre-foreclosures and foreclosures. Okay, so we can kind of get an understanding on what's evolving or what's unfolding around this property. Is this area a distressed property? Is this area growing? I mean, you name it. So all that data is available for you to analyze. The second form of search that you can perform is zip code level. So by selecting any zip code, you can type in a zip code, and again, instead of showing you a specific property on the right-hand side, what we're going to do is instantly populate all of the results in that zip code. So there's over 7,000 records that we've pulled, but by selecting any of these individual boxes, it's going to isolate only those results. And this is what I wanted to point out about the first update that we did on the back end. Again, we've now connected ourselves to up to 700 additional MLS boards. This means that most of our MLS listings are now going to start providing you property photos, so you'll be able to click on the property and get an understanding of the situation of the property, you know, the interior, exterior, and so forth, kitchen. Right. What we've also done is we've pretty much are copying and pasting, I would say, for the most part, but we have enhanced our MLS details as well, so you'll be able to see agent description, property details, utilities, and all of the agent's information. Okay. All right, so that's if we click on the MLS. Now if we click on pre-foreclosures, we get the pre-foreclosure results on the right-hand side. Okay, so that's the second form of search, zip code level. One thing I do want to point out, when you're searching zip code level or city level, below the map, we're going to provide you the statistics for that area, in this case, the zip code. So what this is pretty much telling you is the market analysis. We've been collecting data for 14 years, and so what we're doing is running the market analysis for you in this area. So what this area is pretty much telling me is in this zip code, Los Angeles, this zip code particular, it has grown by 2% in terms of price changes in the last 30 days. Rental changes have grown by rental prices have grown by 4% in the last 30 days. I get to see the average square footage last year in November versus what the price per square footage is now on average. Days on market. Okay, so we have access to the MLS. We know when things are listed and we know when things sell. With that said, we take that information and we're able to tell you the average days on market for a particular property bedroom. So if you own a 4-bedroom property today in this zip code and you decide to list it with a broker, by highlighting number 4, it's telling me that a 4-bedroom on average will last 102 days before it's sold on the MLS versus a 3-bedroom, which takes 155 days. So I think this is important because this will allow you to essentially compensate for the expenses that you'll have to worry about within that time frame. Below is the market trends. So this is just telling you how the MLS listings have the trend of the MLS listings in the last 30 days. So in the last 30 days, there's been 12 listings versus the previous 30 days. So that's less than 20% of a change. Again, we can increase this to 90 days, a year, and just kind of dissect the area, how many properties are being listed, and so forth. New pre-foreclosures. So this is last year's recorded amount versus this year's recorded amount. And then we have our average monthly rent. So similar to the average days on market, if I were to rent out a 4-bedroom property in this zip code on average, it would rent out for $4,100 plus or minus. Listing trends breaks down the listing trends into more detail. So how many homes are for sale on the system, and the MLS results. Has the average list price increase or decrease in the last 30 days? Average list price per square footage. What about days on market? Has that increased or decreased? Now in the last 30 days, it's telling us that some of these have increased, but if we want to look at it in the last, let's say, quarter, we can get a different idea of what's happening in the last 90 days. To the right of that, we have list price versus sell price. So green is your average listing price, and then sell price is the average sell price in the area based on county records. And then down below, sell trends. So unlike the listing trends, which is MLS data, sell trends is county recording. So this is what the county is recording in terms of trends. So they're recording a slight dip in sales, average sold dollar amount, increase in sold dollar amount. They're also recording an increase in days on market. And again, 30 days, 90 days, 6 months, or a year. To the right of that, we have days on market versus inventory. Okay, so again, this is a market analysis. For those of you investing in this area, you probably don't need it, but some of your buyers and sellers may not know their environment. So very powerful tool in terms of convincing or persuading, however you want to, whatever word you want to use there. But if you do like this, you can hit the print button, and what we're going to do is we're going to generate a PDF file for you. And by selecting that PDF file, it's pretty much what you just saw. So this is now a printable form. You can slip it in your offer or your portfolio. All right, so I just want to show you what that's going to look like. Okay, come on, computer. Let's wake up. There it is. All right, so that's zip code level, again, statistics for the zip code level. The third form of search you can perform is city level. So if we, for example, were interested in Riverside, California, by selecting that, we're now giving you all of the city's results rather than just one zip code. So here in Riverside, over 7,000 MLS listings, pre-foreclosures, 584 of them, auctions, and so forth. So if you could see the pattern that's going on, anytime you type in an area, we're going to tell you exactly what our data is. So that could go the same if we, let's say, want to start investing in Miami, Florida, and we don't have anybody on the ground level helping us get leads. We can help you with that. We type in Miami, and we can show you all the properties with liens, all the properties in pre-foreclosures, photos, and whatnot. Okay, so this is the city level search. And again, you will have the statistics down below for the city level. So as we populate the city, we get to see the statistics for Riverside as a whole. And the last form of search that you can do is the county level search. So instead of a city, if you're fixated on the entire county, you can search for the entire county, and we're going to give you the entire county's results. Now, do be warned, when you are searching for a county, we can no longer run the statistics. So you'll notice is the statistics will no longer be available for you. That's because the market's going to be dramatically different in the county. With that said, though, you do still have access to all of the data within the county. And again, we can click on any of these categories and see the properties, photos, and whatnot. The one thing I do want to tell you about is that for every property you click on, you're going to get, again, this page to look at. You're going to have all of these tabs down below. So this is pretty much all of the property details that we've collected for you from many different sources. What we're doing is we're taking all of these different sources and putting it on one page. So you can get the county's recording, you can get the MLS details from the brokers we're working with, we can look at the title company's information, transaction history. Now, what's important, though, is our system is very dynamic. When you pull up a property, you're going to see the many different tabs, and between property details and comparables, these tabs are dynamic. So for this example, it was in the MLS. When I clicked on it, assuming it was just an MLS property, the system's telling me, hey, did you know that this property also has a lien on it? And the lien information is now here. So now I know that, hey, this property has a county lien or city tax lien against it. And that will happen for every category. So if I click on pre-foreclosures and I select a pre-foreclosure property, this is now telling me that, hey, this property is not on the market, so there is no more MLS tab. It has no lien, so there's no more lien tab, but it is in pre-foreclosure, so there's the pre-foreclosure tab. So we're dynamically going to give you all the different records on a property and piece it all together for you, okay? So that's the county level search. That's the results that you're going to see, the details for each results. Before I get into the details of a property, the last feature I do want to show you is embedded in the map. We have 3 tools for you. Here at the top left, we have a draw search feature. So rather than searching an entire area or a zip code, you can actually search a custom design ultimately. Now do be careful, you cannot search large environments. So if your draw search is too large, you'll instantaneously just get no results. But that is a very powerful feature, again, that lets you search a specific design or a specific environment. The other tool that we have within the system is located at the top right of the map. So once we get our results, I'm actually going to show you that. Oh, hold on one second here. Did I click on the wrong page? I did. Pardon me. All right, the other feature that we have is located on the top right. It's called our analytics, and this is our heat map. Again, we've been collecting data for you for the last 14 years. So our heat map, there's 4 categories: estimated value, MLS status, price growth, rental value. So if you've never been to Riverside, California before, you can click on estimated value, and you have some subcategories to choose from. But for example, estimated value, and in just a few seconds, you now know where the $1 million properties are. Red represents 1 million or more, light blue represents 100 or less, and then of course, light green and green represents everything in between. So if you know, hey, I can't deal with $500,000 or more, then your property colors would be light blue to about dark green. You have MLS status. What if you're interested in what the listing prices are in the neighborhood? Here are all the properties that are on the MLS and what their listing prices are. Red represents 1 million or more. Light blue represents 100,000 or less. The most popular one of the bunch is price growth. So here we can say, hey, show me how the area has grown in the last year. And so red represents properties that have grown 100%. Light blue represents properties that have grown I've taken a loss of 100% or more, and then of course everything in between. And you have up to a 5-year growth term that you can look for. So if you want to do 3 years, we can see 3 years, and again, red represents 100% growth. So we can now identify the areas that have grown over 100% in the last 3 years. The last one is rental values. So we finally got a property in contract and it's ours, and we're interested in what it rents out for. We have your rental prices for you, right? And here's a cool thing too. It's you can zoom in on the area, and what we're going to do for you is we're going to put these boxes on the individual properties, so you'll know which properties in that area have grown by 100%. And so as you keep zooming and zooming, the dots will populate. Now we can click on that property and get the details. So remember, we have over 160 million property listings. You don't have to just go through our listings. You can click on parcels, or you can type in specific addresses. And again, you can click on ground level and take a look at what that property is going to look like. Okay? So look out for that feature. All right, so that's our heat map for you. Let me go ahead and reset this, and we'll get back to Riverside. Now let's talk about the bread and butter of everything. So yes, we're a data provider like many others. Again, if you haven't already noticed, what does define us a little bit is the ability to provide you all these records that we've collected through multiple sources onto one detailed page. The other thing that has defined who we are is the ability for you to customize your own filters. So let's say we were searching in, let's go to a different area. Let's say Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia. All right, let's go to Atlanta. All right, so let's say we're starting to invest in Atlanta. We're interested in, let's say, tax delinquencies. That would be liens. So if we were to search in Atlanta and we clicked on liens, there's over 49,000 records to go through. And that's, I don't even think that's feasibly possible in a year. So rather than doing that, what we can do now is click on filter. And what the filter does is it gives you over 50 different options to filter your own list. So we're going to go from 49,000 to a much more narrowed list that fits our criteria. So beginning with owner occupied, do you want the owner occupying the property? Yes or no? So for those of you looking for absentee owners, you can hit no. For those of you not, you can hit yes. For those of you that don't care, you can leave it under any, okay? The next step is, what list type do you want us to filter? So in this case, I'm going to filter liens, or I can filter cash buyers in Atlanta. For this example, we're going to use liens. And what you're noticing on the right-hand side is a summary. So as you're applying your criteria, for example, if I did owner-occupied yes, you're going to start seeing your summary on the right-hand side. So that's owner-occupied. The next step is property characteristics. So here you have a few options like property type, bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, lot size, year built, home features. So let's say for this example, we're looking for single-family properties that were built after 1980. That's, again, you can see your summary. The next category is MLS status. And as you click on another category, we're going to minimize the previous category. We didn't have this in the previous version. It used to pretty much expand the entire screen, and you would have to scroll all the way up and all the way down. And in our previous version, we did not have a summary. So about halfway through, if you forgot what you were doing, you wouldn't know what you did. So the summary does alleviate that. Now, in regards to MLS status, you can search for keywords in the agent description. You can search a particular status of the MLS. So is the property active? Did it fail? Did it sell? Is it pending? The listed amount of that MLS property, when it was listed, how many days on market, is it a rental listing? Has it been listed below market price? Is it even on the market? So for this example, let's say we want to get tax delinquencies that haven't reached out to a broker yet. So for on market, I'm going to hit no. The next status is foreclosure status. So I don't know if you guys are catching on, but what I'm able to do now is stack a criteria. So there's a difference between having a lien on your property and having a lien on your property and being in pre-foreclosure, right? The difference between the two is one's more motivated to sell than the other. So what this allows you to do is stack whether you want that property to be going through another situation as well. In this case, not only do you want it with the lien, but do you also want it in pre-foreclosure? And vice versa. Let's say maybe in Atlanta, I'm not familiar, and correct me if I'm wrong, but let's assume in Atlanta, pre-foreclosures are very aggressive, too much competition. So now we can say, hey, I want a property with a lien that's not in pre-foreclosure or foreclosure. Now, if we did choose that, we have document types to select from, listing dates, the default amount, or when the auction will be held on that property. The next category is ownership info. So here we can specify how many years of ownership. So if we're looking for property owners that have lived there a minimum 5 years or more, we're now calculating that. And as you guys can see on the right-hand side, we went from 49,000 to about 38 right now based on our filter. So it's going to keep changing depending on what we're doing over here on the filter page. So 5 years of ownership. I only want individual owners. I don't want any corporations or trusts or LLCs. I just want to deal with individuals. I can apply a last sell date, last sell price, whether the owner is registered out of state or not, or whether the property has also been flagged as vacant. So that's the ownership info. Next is the lien information. Since I'm looking for liens already, this is the part where I can get a little bit more detailed with that. So I can now say, find me liens that were recorded beginning of January of this year up until April of this year, or find me recordings from January of 2015 to December 2015. I can specify lien amount. So let's say I'm looking for liens that are about $1,500 and more. I can specify the lien type. So let's say I only want HOA and tax liens. And then below that, I can tack on whether the property is going through a divorce or is also going through a bankruptcy. So again, custom building and applying levels of distress, I should say. The next category is the value trend. So here you can apply an estimated value. So let's say my budget or just my criteria is I don't like dealing with properties more than $700,000. Or maybe I want a property after I buy it, I want that property to rent out, between $1,500 to $2,000. Growth, again, I showed you the growth map. So you can say, hey, I'd like a property that has grown 5% over the last year. And then the last but most important section is the equity and mortgage information. So here we can specify a hard equity amount, a hard dollar amount for equity. So minimum 10,000, max 50,000, or we can just do a percentage. And so for this example, let's say I want properties that have at least 30% or more in equity. I can also apply number of mortgages, total mortgage amount. If I'm, let's say, a seller financing, I can maybe look for people that have high interest rates, loan to value ratio, mortgage terms, when the mortgage will mature, the loan type, whether the property was registered a cash bought property or whether the property is registered as a free and clear property. So as you can see, over 50 different options for you to choose from to custom build your own list. Once you have custom, you'll be able to see your summary. Last, you'll be able to hit apply, and now your results are populated on the right-hand side. So in a matter of a few moments, we went from 49,000 results to just shy of 1,100 that fit my criteria, which is HOA or tax lien, owner's individual, it's owner occupied. The tax lien is about $1,500 or more. It's not on the market. It's not distressed yet. So I just built a list of about 1,100 property owners that are starting to get distressed, meaning the situation could get dire if they don't take care of these liens, meaning they can get into pre-foreclosure and then ultimately get foreclosed on. But now that I know, the situation, I can now get to them before that pre-foreclosure notice arrives ultimately, right? Maybe we're the first people to get a hold of them and we're beating out the competition. So that's how our system works. Again, this filter is what has defined who we are in the last few months of this product's existence. So that's the filter. Now we have our results on the right-hand side. Before I get into the details, I do want to show you another cool feature. It's called the Save Search. What this allows you to do is actually save your criteria. So here we can call this the Atlanta lien list. We can apply our details like 30% equity or more, owner occupied, off market, liens. Third option is, do you want to replace any of these boxes on the home screen? So if there's a box you rarely use, let's say you don't work on foreclosures, you can check this off and replace that foreclosure box with your very own template. Now, if you don't replace any of the boxes, we're going to store them in your all searches. And you can have as many criteria saved as possible. The last option here is email notification. So our system can notify you if the results today changes in the next few days. So when we do our next update, if something just so happens to fit your criteria, we can email you immediately, daily, or at the end of the week. So for example, if I said immediately, today we had 1099 results. If in the next 2 days that goes to, let's say, 1,200, I'm going to get an email with the 101 addresses that were updated. And I'll actually show you guys what that looks like. I did get a notification earlier today, or a few days ago. So here's what that's going to look like via email. All right. It will say just like this, 61 new properties. And when you click on it, so this is us notifying you about your list type. So 6,100 new properties have been added, and then here are all the addresses. So I didn't even have to be on the system to get this email. Ultimately, we can become your personal assistant. So you create your criteria, you hit the Save Search button, apply your details, and then choose your notification, how fast you want us to notify you. And then you'll hit Save, and now your search is now saved. The idea here is if you log in the next day, there's no need to apply your criteria. You'll just go to All Searches, click on your template, and your results are on the right-hand side. Now, if we did get new results, let's say we got 5 new results, those 5 will now replace numbers 1 through 5 for you. Okay, so that's custom building a list and setting up notifications, what I think is a very, very important thing to do. Again, we can become your personal assistant, so let us take advantage of that for you. Looks like we have a little lag here. Hold on here. Let's get to our list again. Okay, we won't wait for that list to populate. Let me just get to an area really quick. All right, so now let's dive into the property details page. So here we go. So property details page. Anytime you filter results, your results will be on the right-hand side. And as you can see, every address we have has a hyperlink to it. So if you click on that property, here's what's going to happen. We're going to show you the property details. So here at the top is what we call the dashboard. Being that this is an MLS property I selected from, as I mentioned earlier, we have lots of new photos now. So you can click on this box, and then we're going to be able to show you the property. So you'll be able to get an understanding of what needs to be repaired and what doesn't. Okay. You'll have the bird's eye view, and then you'll also have street view. Below that is the property characteristics. Above that is the estimated value our system has calculated. Status, is it on market or off? Distress, is it in pre-foreclosure or foreclosure? Liens, are there any involuntary liens attached to the property? Owner, is it individual or corporate? Occupancy, is it owner occupied or not? And then the property type. To the right, we have the estimated value. What we're doing here is we're calculating what we believe the value has been over the last 5 years. Last sale, this is what we have in terms of the last sale recording. To the right of that, we have our comparables. Now, these comparables are what our system believes to be the comps, but you do have the ability to control that. But based on our system, it believes there are 19 comps, the average value being 539, with the average days on market being 75 days. And then we can take a look at the average comps over the last year. Now, to the right of that. So here on the right, this is what we call the opportunity box. So estimated equity. This is our calculation. What we're doing is we're taking the mortgage balance and subtracting that from the estimated value, and that gives us our estimated equity. Monthly rent, we have MLS data, so we know the property's characteristics, demographics, and we're calculating what this property would rent out on a monthly basis. Mortgage balance. We get this mortgage balance by amortizing the payments for you. So for example, here in the mortgage information, we know the last transaction as applied to the property, and in doing so, I don't know if you guys mentioned, but this is one thing that we just updated recently. We have lots of mortgage information, but we know the last mortgage information. We reverse calculate, and since this was in February, it's been about 2 years now. This is what we believe to be his current mortgage balance after making the minimum payments. Right? And so the difference there that we're doing is we are heavily looking for this information so we can calculate that equity for you. What most providers do, data providers do, and I'll explain what they do differently. Actually, let me explain this part first. So I'm going to get to that whole equity thing, but this is the property details, which is going to lead to that. But all this information above is scattered down here on the many tabs. So we know who the owner is, if there's an alternative address, property characteristics, site information, assessment information, and then this is what I'm referring to. So what most data providers do in terms of their equity calculator is they don't get the mortgage information. What they do is they get the recorded sell amount. So they take the recorded sell amount and they subtract it by the current estimated value, market value. Now, if we were to do that with this property, we're utterly wrong, because this sell amount is 661. That's the recorded sell amount. But when we look at the mortgage information, that 661 looks like it may have happened a long time ago. Actually, what's the mortgage amount here? 575 on 1/10/2017. So 1/10/2017. So this is the correct mortgage amount. And so we know after that he's done some other activity, but ultimately this is why we do our equity differently, is they take the recorded sell amount, which could have been a transaction, 5 transactions ago, and then they calculate equity, which again, you can see that could skew you. In this case, we're taking the most recent recording against the property, calculating the payments, and then giving your estimated equity. So that's how we get that information, all in the property details for you. Okay. Then we have our other details, in this case, MLS or liens or pre-foreclosure details. To the right of that is the comparables and nearby listings. So this is the area where you get to take control of running your own comps. So these are the 19 that our system calculated, when in reality there's 25 possible comps within a half-mile radius. What we can do now is use the filter to filter all the 4 bedrooms and 4 bathroom properties within a half-mile radius. It looks like we don't have anything to that. Maybe we'll do 3 to 4 bedrooms. Oh, it looks like we may not have any true comps here. So let's see. Oh, we have a lot of 4.2. So this property has almost 2 extra bedrooms. So let's do that. Let's do 4. Well, just 2s. All right, so these are the closest ones. And if we look at just these 2 results, again, we have extra bathrooms. These have 2, but if we use these 2 as our foundation, the 2 selected, their sell price is $638,000 with the different days on market. So that's our county recorded comps. Then you have your neighboring records. So you can now take a look at your neighboring records, see if anybody recently sold and what they sold for. And then the most recent update is the MLS box. So this is taking the most recent 150 MLS listings around the property. We're scattering all of them to the right. The new feature is you now have the ability to filter your MLS listings. So in our box, the county comps, we only had 2 like comps, but now we can go through the county, the MLS listing. So we can have other types of data. So this is all the broker data. So there are 4 bedrooms and 4 bathroom properties within the neighborhood that the MLS has that the county doesn't have. So there are 29 selected. As you can see, all of them here with different status types. We can now filter that. So I can say, hey, show me all the sold 4 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. And now we're using the same database a realtor or broker would use in terms of running comps. Or we can do, show me all the actives so we can see what our current competition is. Okay. And then you have your other listing types within the property too. So pre-foreclosures, foreclosures, liens, cash buyers, and so forth. The next tab is tax information. So here you'll be able to see the tax information, assessed value, land value, improvement value. As I showed you before, we have the mortgage information that we've been able to collect, transaction history, and then documents and reports. So here on the left side is your analysis wizard documents. These are only available if you use the analysis wizard at the top. To the right, we have our premium reports, so you can purchase an assessor's map for $1.50 or the document image scan for $5. So that's the property details page for you. There are 3 other elements that you can use. The print button, what that does is it prints all of this information out for you on a very fancy CMA report. So if you like a property, just hit that print button, and we're going to generate this report for you. There it is. So here's the property, characteristics, the comps, last market sell, lien information. We even have the comps here for you. We've included the statistics for you as well. All right. The next tool up here is the analysis wizard. So this is just a generic universal analysis wizard that allows you to apply your purchase information, your mortgage information, your income information, your monthly expenses, what are you selling the property for, and then once you apply your variables, you'll be able to go to finish, and then we'll generate the reports for you. So we'll take whatever your variables are and generate a rehab report for you, a purchase analysis for you, improvement, expense, cash flow, property sale. And the last most important feature on every property that we've implemented is the Rehab Calculator. So the Rehab Calculator will allow you to calculate rehab costs at a local level. So rather than assuming what the rehab cost will be, Blue Hammer will take care of that. So once you click on that, you'll have to save the property. After saving the property, again, you can click on the Rehab Calculator, and we're going to redirect you to Blue Hammer. Blue Hammer is used by major insurance companies. They provide, again, local level costs on labors and parts. So if you're trying to do a bathroom project, rather than assume what that will be, or going to HomeDepot.com and figuring out by looking at the items, Blue Hammer will take care of that for you. So they're going to capture the address. You'll just start a new project. You'll name it, let's say, bathroom and kitchen. You'll hit Let's Go, and then you'll be given 2 options. So for the less advanced rehabbers, you can search by popular projects, something I would do. Or for the more advanced rehabbers, you can search by individual actions. So if you know what parts and pieces you need to perform and complete a project, you just apply those parts and pieces, and Blue Hammer will give you your costs. For someone like me, search popular projects. I'll choose bathrooms. Let's say I'm replacing the shower and tub combo in the house. I'm going to use ceramic tile. I want to use maybe a middle quality material, and then these repairs will be made in the bathroom. And so after I select my project, I now have my average costs, my do-it-myself costs, the number of line items. I can also stack projects. So let's say I'm now doing the kitchen, cabinets and countertops. Say it's a medium-sized kitchen. We're using good material once again, and that's going to be performed in the kitchen. So now your cost has been increased, do-it-yourself costs. The project details will break down all your line items. So here are my bathroom line items, and then here are my kitchen line items. Now, this isn't to say that if you call the contractor right now, this will be the exact price he's going to give you. What this is designed to do is give you a foundation to work with. So if you've never dealt with a contractor, in this case in Atlanta before, you run the Blue Hammer report, now you have something to work with. So when you call a contractor and they say, hey, I can do this bathroom job for $9,000, your next question should be, can I see your line items? And now you can, cross your I's and dot your T's and see why they got that additional $4,000. And Blue Hammer is very thorough. I mean, they even include things like taking out the trash to the bin or the truck and how many hours that will take. And you get that in both categories. So like for the kitchen, it actually takes 4 hours to perform that process versus the bathroom, which takes 1. So again, this is not to say that this is the exact cost for that project, but this is a tool for you to work with and utilize to your advantage. All right. So that is our Blue Hammer, and that is our property details page. So every property that you search, that you filter your results, every one of them is selectable, and you're going to get the property details page. Okay. Now let's see if let's try my list. Is it populating yet? Might have been too specific. All right, we'll clear that out. We'll just go to Riverside. All right, so now that we have shown you what the details look like, how to search, the different types of searches, how to use your filter, let me just run a quick filter, and I'll show you guys how to do a save. So let's say I want liens that are individually owned and 50% equity. Oh yeah, let's make sure they're off market too. I might use this list later on. All right, so we have 3,200 results. I'm going to go ahead and either highlight the results I want individually, or I can highlight them all, hit add to lists. I'm going to name this list the Riverside Liens, 50% equity, and boom, just like that, my list is saved. So from the get-go, when you custom built your lists and you save it, all your property lists will be stored in the properties page. So this is where we're going to store all the results that you've collected. What's important here is that you'll be able to look at your individual lists one at a time. You'll also be given the ability to export. So as you have your lists, you can export your results. You can highlight them all, either delete them, migrate them to a different group. You can export, or you can, again, delete. You also have the ability to click on the properties once more on this page and check out the details. So you can ultimately do your last-minute editing on this page. The last thing that we have on this page are these 4 boxes here at the top. What they'll do is monitor all your properties. So over time, as you're saving properties, in this case I have 16,000 saved, these boxes are going to tell me the different things that are happening to those results. So of my 16,000, 326 of them have had new recording, 60 of them have sold, 214 of them have status changes, and last 72 of them are up for auction. So in like this example, I can now highlight all of them and move them into the auction group. And that way I can pay more attention to them because these guys are very limited on time. So very cool feature here. We also included some contracts for you to use. These are not state specific. That is located at the bottom left. So if you are going to use them, make sure to seek a professional. The next section is contacts. This is where you'll be able to manually edit your contacts. So if you are driving for dollars and you speak to an owner, you can click on the property and update the first name, last name, email, phone number. This is also the section where you can import your lists. So if you've collected a list from a different source, you can import it. Just follow steps 1, 2, and 3. After importing, you'll be able to save it to a group. Any groups that you save will be located here at the top left. So this is what it's going to look like. What's also important in this page is this is where your skip tracing results will be stored. So anytime you do a skip tracing, which is collecting contact information, the results will populate here. To perform the skip tracing, you can do it two ways. You can go to the contacts page and click Add New, or from any page that you're on, let's say you're in the search page, you can just hit the skip tracing button here and it'll take you to it. To do the skip tracing, you'll select your contacts, choose your list from the drop-down menu here at the top. After you select your list, they'll populate down below. You'll hit Add Selected Contacts. The contacts will be highlighted in yellow and driven down here at the box below. You'll then hit Done. Step 1 is completed. Step 2 is your payment, so it's going to tell you what your cost is. Now, do be aware some of your contacts will be omitted, either because it's a duplicate, meaning that the same owner is within your remaining lists, or you've done the job already, so we're not going to double charge you by duplicating the same addresses again. And the last potential possibility is that it's insufficient information. Now, in terms of costs, it's 30 cents per hit. So, for example, if I uploaded 10 addresses and 8 of them came back with results, I'm only getting it charged for the 8, so it'll be 8 times 30 cents. We don't charge you for the service or the ones that don't get results. We only charge you for the ones that do get results. Okay. After I place, see my amount, I can place my order, and just like that, I've skip traced the list. And again, your lists will be stored in contacts, and they will be here in the skip tracing job. So we're going to go from a list just like this, where there's no emails, no phone numbers, to a list that looks very similar to this, where now the emails and phone numbers are going to be within the list for you now. So again, here's a list, no emails and phone numbers. And then here's a list with emails and phone numbers after the job has been processed. Now at this point, I can highlight all of my addresses and export this Excel sheet. And what I mean by this Excel sheet with the contact information and emails. All right, so that's contacts, skip tracing, and the last section that we're going to cover is the campaign section. So guys, thanks for sticking with me. We're very close to the end. But to begin the campaign, you'll click on the icon, you'll select New Campaign, you'll name your campaign, so we can call this the Riverside campaign, for example. You'll choose the targeted audience, so you have all of the different groups, so your property groups, your marketing lists, your skip trace lists. You can choose any groups that you'd like. Now, preferably, you probably want to choose a skip trace list. That way you can use our ringless voicemail drop system and our email. If you don't skip trace the properties, then you can only send them a postcard because that's the only information that's attached to it. So definitely want to make sure you choose from your skip trace job. So let's say we chose a list there. Here it is. You have the ability to market to more than one group. So feel free to do that. But after you name and choose your recipients, you can now hit save, and your campaign has successfully been begun. So once you create your campaign, this pop-up will appear and it'll give you a few things to do first. The first thing I would recommend that you do is hit Set Up Website. Every campaign that you create gets one free website. The website's a splash page. To do so, once you hit it, it's very easy to set up. So website name, as you can see, this number matches this number here. So we're giving you a generic URL. What you have the ability to do is change the last part. So the best investor in the neighborhood. Right? And the system will say, hey, you know what? That URL works, so it's available. Contact email. So in your website, there is an application your leads can fill out. If they do fill out that application and hit send, we will redirect that notification to this email. So feel free to use your own email, or you can assign your assistant's email here. We'll leave it to whatever you want. The third option is, do you want us to store your design? Now, you'll be able to custom upload your own image, logos, photos. And if you don't want to have to keep doing that over and over, just check this box off and we'll store that template for you so you can use it later on. If you don't want us to save it, leave it unchecked. The last part is, do you want to start with the blank website? And if so, this is the editor. So here you can drag a photo, a logo, an image, you can change your header text, which is located here on the right-hand side. And so, hello, I will buy your house in cash. All right, and then depending on what we update, you will see that on the right-hand side. Body text down below, body text here. For those of you that want to use a template of ours, what we're just doing is giving you a really nice banner that you can use. If you just want to use our banner, go for it. But fill out your header, put in those logos, images, your body text. Once you're done designing, you can hit preview. We're going to open a different tab so you can see what this website will look like. And here's that application I was talking about. And then once you're done, if you want to get back to it, make sure to hit save. If you're done designing your website, hit publish. Your website's now fully activated. So what that means is this URL is now a legitimate URL. You can open it up on a new window. You will see that this URL is your URL. So feel free to put it on your business card or on your Facebook page, email it out. But this is your actual website that you just created. And here's that contact information. So we can put All right, and then of course, when they hit send, guess what happens? Yep, you're going to get a notification via email based on that email that you applied. So that is the landing page. Again, every campaign gets it. Here on the left side, we have your active campaigns and the campaigns that you've shut down. So as you can see, I have 3 active campaigns. They each have their own website. This is the one we just created, and even my previous campaigns all have their own websites as well. Right? So you can create as many landing pages as you want based on how many campaigns that you have. All right, so after we create our website, this is the campaign dashboard. You'll have the name of your campaign, the ability to shut down your campaign. Here's when the campaign was initiated. Here is the website URL. If you want to edit your website, go to edit. Below that is the activity monitor, so how many recipients have been highlighted, how many postcards sent, impressions sent, total emails clicked, voicemails delivered, how many people have visited your website. Of course, we got 1 because we visit our own website. And I do want to show you guys that notification. So here's that email I just got. So new message from the RE listing site, the best investor in the neighborhood. So here is our lead's contact information. So very, very effective use of that landing page. Make sure to use it. Again, this is the activity monitor, and then below that, this is our activity manager. So these are the last few things I want to cover. Beginning with postcard, this one took a massive update today. So the first thing you want to do is name the postcard. So feel free to name it what you like. Then you'll be given the sizing option. So we have the standard postcards or the 5x5, 8x5. The difference besides sizing is pricing. Standards are 64 cents a piece. 5x5, 8x5 are 78 cents a piece. So I'll repeat, 64 cents a piece, 78 cents a piece. Enable postcard template. Again, do you want us to save your design? So if you upload your own design or create your own postcard, we can store that for you so you don't have to do it again. You can use it easily. So check that off if you want us to save it, uncheck if you don't. And then below that, do you want to start with the blank postcard? If so, this is your editor. So front side, back side, you can upload your own image, or you can go to advanced edit and just create one from scratch. All right, so we can make this a yellow card, you name it. Okay. All right. Yep, let's clear that. All right. If not, if you don't want to do your own uploading, we do have several predefined templates for you to choose from. So by selecting the predefined templates, we have, as of right now, 16 to 20. And we're going to keep bombarding you guys with templates to use. So as of right now, we do have a limited amount, but more and more will come in the weeks to come. So here we can choose a template that we like. Let's say I buy houses. Hey, this matches my website. So I'll choose that. I'll hit done. And boom. So here's the front card, the back card. And then you even have the ability to go in there and advance our template. So if you don't like what we have laid out, you can definitely advance any layers that you want here. Now, here's a really cool thing that we just uploaded. This feature I think is just amazing. So in this campaign, I have 69 recipients. As you can see here, there's 69, meaning there's 69 property owners I need to get this card to. But I want to make sure that every card has that property owner's name and their address. So what we've done now is we've given you the ability to be a web designer, I should say. So let me show you how this works. So I'm going to make this a little bit larger. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put hello, my name is, and then I can right here apply a field. So I'm going to put my full name. So it's going to look funny. Hello, my name is, hashtag my full name. But when I hit the space bar, you'll see up here that my name, which was in my profile, was automatically applied. So hello, my name is Burton, and I am with, and now I can insert my field and put my business name. Where is my business? Look, we haven't updated. Okay, let's change it. I am interested in your property located at, and then I can put the property's street name and the property owner's zip code. And as you can see up here, it's applying their address for me. So now I can kind of wrap it up by saying, if you are interested, please, oh, that's totally spelled wrong, but ignore that. Please give me a call or email me. Give me a call at, and then I can insert a field, put my business phone number, hit the space bar, and you can see my business phone number is now up there, or email me at space, insert field, my business email, hit space. As you can see, my email's up there. So if you guys didn't catch on, what's going to happen now is these hashtags that I've applied, they're going to apply every single owner's name and their address onto these cards. So even though I'm sending 69 cards, all of them will be slightly different, as each one of them will have a different owner's name and address. So that is a very important update I do want to bring to your attention. This again gives you full customization on your cards, and it makes it just look a little bit more appealing as you're addressing that individual directly. Okay. Once you're done designing, you'll be able to hit done. And at this point, you can preview and print your design, or essentially download your images, or you can hit print and mail, publish your design, and we can mail out your design for you. So if you want to download it, go ahead and hit download, or you can hit continue, and we'll send out your custom cards for you based on the amount of addresses that you have. Okay, so that is our postcard. The next campaign, which is very easy to use, is the ringless voicemail drop. Again, this is ringless voicemail. This is not robocalling. So 4 easy steps. Step 1, create your caller ID. If you have one, choose from the drop-down menu. If not, hit add and apply your caller ID. Hit save. Step 2, select a recording. So if you have one, go ahead and choose one. If not, hit add recording. Name your recording. After you name a recording, if you've done your own recording using your own device, make sure it's in a WAV format, and you may upload it to your application. For those of you that don't know how to do any of that, I'd suggest hit create new recording. We're going to give you an 800 number to call and a PIN number to dial. They'll take care of the recording for you over the phone. Once you're done, hit save new recording, and that will give you your very own recording drop, and it'll be embedded in the drop down so you can use it again. You even have the ability to hit play so you can listen to your recording before you send it out. Third step is for you to apply your schedule. So if you don't have one, hit add. You'll be able to name your schedule and apply the time frame. Now, we do send it the day of, so you cannot time these calls. So today is Friday. These calls will go out on Friday up until 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. At 5, we stop making calls. Anything left over we'll pick up on Saturday at 9 a.m. Now, you do have the ability to extend these time frames. So if we wanted to stop the calls, let's say it's 7 today, we can do that. But just know that we call the day of, and we only go through your list once. We do not call them every day. The last option is calls per minute. Now, before I get to this, I do want to talk about pricing. The call drop is 10 cents per drop. Now it's 10 cents per successful drop. So if you call 10 numbers and only 7 of them go through, we only charge you for the 7. As for calls per minute, that does not alter your costs at all. What this is designed to do is either call 1 call a minute, or we can call 30 numbers a minute. Now, for a list of 69, 1 call a minute would take us about an hour and 10 minutes. Or instead of taking an hour and 10 minutes, we can do 30 calls, and the 69 calls will be dropped in about 2 minutes. So ultimately, it's about how fast you want to do it. I do want to warn you that you won't be able to perform a voicemail drop unless the previous one is completed. So if your list is very large, let's say 300 cash buyers, I would recommend not doing 1 call per minute because that would take you 300 minutes. I would recommend doing 30 calls a minute or something aggressive in that nature, so that way within 10 to 30 minutes we can dial out your leads for you. Okay? The last but not least campaign is our email campaign, and this is very similar to the website design, very similar to the postcard. You'll name your email campaign. The only difference here is you'll be able to apply subject to your email. So, hey, I buy houses in cash. Below that, custom URL. So if you created a landing page with us, we're going to give you the URL automatically. What this means is if someone answers your email, if they click on it, they'll get redirected to your landing page. If you have your own website or a Facebook page, you can hit custom URL and apply your own URL. Below that is delivery date. Now this is the only one you can time. So by default, we'll send the emails right away. If you want to time it, you can deselect that and you can now send them on a weekend at a given time on a given time zone. The next step below that, again, do you want us to save your design? Check for yes, uncheck for no. And last but not least, do you want to start with a blank email template or do you want to use one of our defined templates? So by doing that, here's the editor, very similar to the others. Banner, top logo, bottom logo, header text, body text, and then the only difference here is that you have different layouts to choose from. But once you choose your layout, you can now hit publish and we'll send it out to your leads. Prior to publishing it, you can hit preview and email it to yourself. And what that will do is it'll give you a sample of what that message would look like when your leads receive it. Let's see if I have that here now. All right, I think it came up, so I just kind of want to show you guys what this would look like. All right, so your email campaign would look like that. So, and then when they click on Learn More, they'll get redirected to your landing page. Okay, so it's a very effective use of campaigning, and then as you guys can see, we're really thinking outside of the box. We're just trying to get everyone to get redirected back to you. But that's it. First off, thank you guys so much. I know it was a little bit lengthy, but the idea here is I wanted to cover everything as much as possible so you know how to approach it from beginning to end. But that is our campaign section, and that is propstream.com for you. As a quick refresher, the toolbars on the left-hand side, you kind of just want to follow the icons, right? Search, do your filter, set up your notification, look at your results, save your results into groups. Those will be stored in properties. This is where you'll be able to analyze, export, delete. After you analyze your properties, you can go to contacts to manually edit the contact information, import a list, or skip trace. Or you can just skip trace from any page that you're on. And then the last section is direct marketing campaign. So this is the area where you'll be able to do postcards, ring this voicemail drops, and emails. So I do hope you guys enjoyed this recording. I know it was lengthy. If you guys need a copy of the recording for future use, please make sure to give us a call at our customer support line. But other than that, thank you guys so much. I hope you guys have a wonderful day.